Hi, this is Sam Botstein from MachineSkills.com. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube for all our machine tutorials and check us out at MachineSkills.com. Today we're going to take a look at how to use reverse snares in Maschine. Using reverse snare sound is a really great way to add really a lot to a relatively simple hip-hop style beat, and it actually sounds great in all kinds of different sorts of electronic music, but using reverse snares presents some unusual challenges when using Machine's pattern-based sequencer. To make everything easier to see, I've turned up my time signature from 4:4 to 4:16. It's not going to affect the sound at all, but hopefully in the video it'll be a little bit easier to see where the notes are and exactly how long they are. And I've also turned up my grid from 1/16 to 1/32, and that is going to allow me to click in notes just, to these smaller subdivisions. And we're going to need that in a minute. If you want to follow along or recreate this tutorial exactly, I thought I would just let you know that I'm using the Conant Bump Kit from the Conant Gardens expansion. And to make things just a little bit easier to see, since we're going to work with the snare sound, I'm just going to quick color the snare the color blue, opposite orange. It should be a little bit easier to see. So this is what this pattern sounds like before we do anything to it. You get the idea. I'm going to actually mute the synth bass. It's really silly, and we're just not going to deal with it ever again. It's dead to us. So to get a reverse snare sound, the first thing that we're going to need to think about is exactly how long the sound is, because when we reverse it, that's going to matter. Luckily, this particular sound is of a length that is going to be very forgiving for us. I'll show you what I mean. So I've just copied and pasted the snare sound so that we can reverse this one. I'm actually just going to delete these notes really quick. And I'm going to click in the snare in two places. And in one of them it's going to sound good, and one of them it's not really going to fly. So let's hear what I mean. So here it was weird, but later it was okay, and I'm going to show you why. So if we look at this kick here, it is a one-shot sound. Now, a one-shot sound in Maschine is just going to play all the way through the sample, no matter the actual length of the note that you clicked in. So we can see that some of these notes are super crazy short, and some of them are, a 30-second note long in our current grid here. But the point is that they're different lengths, but they're going to sound the same. So let's just listen to that soloed. They all sound the same length, but if I turn it up to ADSR, you'll see that it doesn't even sound like the kick anymore. We're not hearing all of the transient, we're just going to hear what sounds like a bouncing ball to me. So in ADSR, we actually have to drag out this note pretty much all the way to hear the whole sample. This is really different. We're going to put this back to one shot, we're going to leave it the way it was, but our snare sound is an ADSR sound. So this is the reason that it sounds okay here, but not over here. So this is a really fast rhythm. It sounds to me almost like a DJ who is just sort of cutting in the other record before he lets it go. You can just sort of hear the reverse sound right before the forward sounds is playing. It sounds like this with the kick. Sounds pretty okay. But this first one is not really flying because we're hearing, in effect, only the end of the sample. Or, if you want to think of the sample as reversed, the start of the sample. And we're not actually hearing it follow through. So if we just make this note a little bit longer, both are going to sound really good. Let's hear what that sounds like in context. So this was pretty easy to achieve. Again, the reason that this is working is that we're managing the length of the notes, and we have an ADSR sound. Now, some things that we could do is we could mess with this envelope a little bit. We're not going to do that in this tutorial, but just to show you how to try to manage this and still be able to get different rhythms in a one-shot mode, it's going to require another snare sound. And this is why. If we just play what we have right here, this sound is actually going to cross over and sound really bad right around 4. So it's going to be okay on 2. It turns out that this snare, both forwards and backwards, is basically the length of this note. Over here, though, it's going to cross over, sound really ugly. Listen. Again, let's just solo them up so we can hear them. We can simply copy this sound again. We won't need to reverse it this time because it'll already be reversed. But what we're going to do is we're going to go into sampling and notice that here it's going to, whoops. We're going to change this to a one-shot, right? That when it plays, it's actually going to move backwards through the sample here. So basically we need this to be about half the length that it is now. So it's about 22 seconds long, or rather 0.22 seconds long. So if we bring it down to 0.11, it's going to be just about right. We could also stretch it, but it's going to sound just fine if we just truncate it. So that worked just about perfectly. We had it the right length for this particular one-shot sound, and now we have another one-shot sound which is the right length for that particular rhythm. Let's hear it all in context. So you can see that it might be easier to use just one-shot sounds, but it's going to save us a lot of economy of paths to use ADSR sounds. Basically, using these ADSR sounds and managing the length of the notes, we'll be able to fit a lot more onto just one group in Maschine. Now, there's some advantages to using one-shot sounds, especially consistency, and in Maschine 2.0 and all subsequent versions, you can have as many groups as you want, as many sounds as you want. So it's really up to you. Let me know in the comments what works best for you, how you use reverse sounds, and how you sort of manage the length of them. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube for all our Maschine tutorials, and check us out at machineskills.com.